and thank you for your attention. So I'm going to start by asking you to take a look at this image on the screen that I'm showing you. It says light and hormones. And it says right there, bright light induces stress. And for a lot of you, when you hear the word stress, you're thinking of something bad, right? But stress is actually, what can we call it? It's actually a good thing. It's actually a part of life. If there's no sign of stress, there's no signs of life. When a baby is born and the baby does not make any noise, what they do to the baby? They give it a gentle nudge and the baby cry. Then they know the baby is alive. And this is the way biology begins, 1800 years ago. And people begin to observe life and they see that the reason why when things move is a sign of vitality. And so stress is really good for us. It's really healthy. It's in biology, it's called cortisol. And as you can see in the diagram, you can see the image of the smiling sun with different colors, right? And you know your rugby, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And these are all spectrum of light, right? These are the spectral. And this, when you see this, right, we don't really understand what it means. We just think it's just color. And I, in my journey, I have been involved in psychotherapy before, and I am a trained clinical hypnotherapist. And what has really motivated me to focus on circadian biology is, is having worked with various clients over the years. And I've noticed that when people come to me with, difficulties, whether that is mental health, whether depression, clinical depression, whether that is, eating disorder or anxiety, when I ask them about sleep, they just don't have any clue what sleep or sleep hygiene is. And I'm sure in your professional life, you've had the word about sleep hygiene. You've heard the word sleep hygiene. But what you haven't heard before is light hygiene. And this has to do with the light that we are living in every day. And in the year 1800, right, when electricity was first invented, what happened to our ancestors, to our great parent, right? They moved from being a cotton picker or fisherman or working on the farm. They moved all of them indoors in factory. And what do we have in factory? We have bright light, right? And I'm not going to go too much into this evolution of light, right? Where we come from having direct exposure to light, having fire indoors, having candles, then all of a sudden having electricity, electric light. And if you look at the evolution of disease and chronic diseases, including mental health disorders, you can see that a lot of chronic diseases, is flow in parallel with the invention of electric light, which basically means that we are spending more of our time indoors, not under the full spectrum that you can see in the sun. I mean, right there in the image in front of you. And I'm going to explain to you what the spectral of this spectral of sun, what they mean, because these aren't just colors, these are information and energy. And I want you to remember that word very well, information and energy. Energy without information becomes misguided. And we don't want that in our body. It becomes inflammation. And too much inflammation is what's at the root of a lot of chronic diseases, including mental health. That is when we have energy without information, or information without energy, right? When you have a molecule, a you know, a molecules, for example, let's say stress, their cortisol as a molecule, right? But without energy, without movement, without rhythm, right? When we think of energy, we should also think of rhythms, right? When somebody move and dance to salsa, right? That isn't just energy, that's also rhythm. That's beauty, right? And so energy and information goes together, and this is what the sun gives us, right? And the red that you can see in the sun, the red, infrared, and far infrared light, they have a particular information, and their job is basically to boost your biology, to regenerate your, basically, I'm going to use this word, mitochondria. And as a lot of us have heard, that mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cells, right? They are the source of all our powers, all our energy, right? And these are engines, little engines in our eyes, in every tissues of our body. In every cells, we have about 300 to 5,000 mitochondria, depending on which part of the body you're looking at, right? And we store a lot of this mitochondria in our eyes, in our brains, in our hearts, and in our, if you're a woman, you store a lot of it in your ovaries. This mitochondria, a lot of it. As you can imagine, the process of giving birth requires a lot of energy. So we store it in there, right? So, and these little engines requires tuning and regeneration, right? And the sun controls the change and regeneration programs of this engine. And the red light, as you can see in the image, I'm showing you right there, this red light, I really want you to think about it very well. This red light goes into your eyes and begin to talk to every cell of your body. First and foremost, your eyes, right? And your eyes is the entry point of light. So if you have cataract, for example, which is a form of disease, eye disease, this light slows down. And that is a problem in itself, because when light slows down, it means that the brain cannot pick up information as it should, right? So we need this light to be coming into our eyes, right? At the right time. It's not just about light, it's also about the timing of light. Because the beginning of light is the beginning of time, right? You know that the morning is different from nighttime. And how are they different? They're different in spectral, the spectral colors of the sun. They're different, right? The morning is filled with red and blue light, this enriched blue light. And like I said, these aren't just color, these are information and energy. They are telling your body certain information to do certain things, right? So in the morning, when you go out at sunrise and you expose your eyes to the sun, this red light, they are longer wavelength. They penetrate deep into our body. They can penetrate through any clothes you're wearing. They penetrate deep into the cells where the cellular water is. And what they do is they charge. They charge. They charge the water, right? They charge our cells, the mitochondria, and they charge it and allow us to begin to store more energy for the day. That's what the red does. But the blue, what the blue does, it regulates cortisol, right? So if you wake up, let's say you have a very trashy sleep and you're pretty tired and stressed, maybe because you have not, you haven't accessed the REM sleep and process all of the stress from the day before. So you're waking up with a lot of stress. So, but then you make a decision to go out into the sun, irrespective of your tiredness, right? So you go out at sunrise. What is going to happen to you? I will explain. The blue and the red light are going to enter your eyes and they're going to begin to talk to your eyes and your brain to begin to regulate cortisol. Imagine a wave, a small wave on top of a bigger wave, right? It's superimposed, and by that superimposition, it brings balance to your cortisol. So even if you are stressed, when you go out, the sun gives you more cortisol to balance this cortisol of your body. And this cortisol is the beginning of a lot of hormonal cascade to power you throughout the day. And when I talk, I call these hormones God's messenger. You don't have to use the word God messenger, because they are powerful force that allows us, our ancestors, to thrive for millions of years. So you need to really pay attention to this. So when you go out, the sun not only begin to regenerate your eyes from, have, we put hands into our eyes, we watch TV, we're on our screen late till, we are on our screen, on our phones, a lot of us have dry eyes, right? This causes inflammation in the eyes. And to the point where they're not saying that our generation is going blind, right? But when you go out in the sun, it regenerates the eyes. The red light of the sunrise regenerate, and while the blue tells your body to produce more cortisol, to regulate your cortisol. And so a lot of our clients who have bipolar, who have PTSD, we benefit a lot from this behavior, because I use the word behavior. Behavior is also a signal, right? Behavior is also a signal as much as the sunlight signal in your body is also a signal. So when you go out at sunrise, you are signaling to your body that by behavior that it is daytime. So it's a very subtle process. When you wake up, you get out of bed, you put water on your face, or maybe you step out, you are changing a lot of things by that gentle movement. You are standing upright, your blood pressure is actually begins to wake up, right? Because you are standing from having lying down all night, right? So, but we don't think about all of these biomechanical changes of just waking up as a signal to your body, to your biological process, that it is daytime, and it begins to change. Your blood pressure begins to change. And as you know, a lot of blood pressure incident happen in the morning. And that is because we don't go out and get this important signal, because the most potent signal to our body is the sun. And we all know that the sun is the source of life. Without the sun, there is no life on this planet. right? So the sun is the most important signal to our biology. And we have this thing in our eyes called photoreceptor. And we also have the ones in our in our skin. These are non-visual photoreceptor, and they're like little eyes. And all they are looking for is different spectrum of light. And like I told you before, that this different spectrum of light are not just colors; they are in specific information. Blue is means cortisol. Red means regeneration and boosting, right? And then the UVB and UVA that we are all aware of, right? The higher UVA, UVB, they also do different things like beta endorphins, these happy chemicals, these chemicals of joy and pleasure, right? So, and the UVA that comes right after sunrise, you know, what it does is a complete different, powerful mechanism, which I don't want to jump into, that has to do with regulating appetite and increasing energy expenditure, which means it's giving us more energy without food. This is without food, right? It regulates appetite, it increases energy expenditure. That is the UVA spectrum. And this UVA spectrum only activate on the skin, right? So this is the whole science of sunshine, so to speak. And it is so important to our mental health because it regulates our hormones, from sleep hormones to happy hormones to fitness hormones, basically the fat hormones, because fat is the largest um, endocrine hormonal organs in our body. So fat isn't just fat; it's a source of energy. It's it's an hormone in itself, and it is regulated by the sun. And I'm sure a lot of you, this is the first time you'll be hearing this, that fat is not just like I'm fat. It's an hormone. It talks. It's a very powerful hormone. And this hormone that we call fat, it's connected to what is called leptin hormone. And this leptin is what tells your body that, hey, you are good. You have enough energy. You don't need to eat. We can run all of the processes of your body. We can run pregnancy. We can run sleep throughout the night. So if you're having problem with, let's say, pregnancy or sleep, then we'll be looking at your fat hormones. And the fat hormone, like I said, has to do with leptin, because leptin is inside the fat hormones, right? Which is the subcutaneous fat underneath our skin, right? Leptin is the hormone that is inside our fat organs that tells our body about energy status. If you need to eat, if you are full, if you're feeling safe, if you are very good, you can carry pregnancy, for example, you can maintain alertness, you can fight and survive and run, when to relax. This leptin hormone that is inside the fat, right, tells your body all this information. So when the client have brain disorder, they have health problem, they cannot sleep, is because this leptin inside the fat and inside the fat organ, this leptin is not working very well. It's either too low or too much. And we know when people have too much of this leptin, which is a fat hormone, is that we know, it's either they're very fat, right? They are obese. And sometimes people can also be very skinny. and still have very low leptin. Remember I said that leptin is a fat hormone. It's an hormone. It's a fat hormone. So it tells our body about energy status, right? And we all know when we see our client, whether they are struggling with insomnia, which can occur period to developing other um, brain disorders, mental health disorder. Before we become bipolar, before we have schizoaffective disorder, before we have all kind of mental health problem, we first have insomnia, sleep problems, and this is where leptin comes in, right? And leptin is regulated by this morning bright light. And as you can see there, on their image you're looking at, this light goes directly to the SCN, which tells your body it is daytime. And the way it tells your body it is daytime is that it goes to the back, to the pineal gland, and in connection to the pituitary gland, and tells them to produce certain hormones. Like if it's daytime, it produces serotonin, right, which is a daytime hormone. It produces cortisol, it produces dopamine, it produces nitric oxide, right? And these are all happening in the morning sun. And I'm sure you can all agree with me that these are incredible hormones, right? Who doesn't want dopamine? Who here does not want serotonin? Or who here does not want their melatonin to be produced, right? And this is where it happens. And we all know that melatonin is not just a sleepy hormone. It does incredible stuff. It's what keeps your cells alive. It cleans out all of the bad cells in your brain, all of the bad cells in your brain, all of their inflammation in your body. Melatonin cleans them out, right? It's not just a sleepy hormone, and it is secreted, it is produced in the morning light, in this morning spectrum of light at sunrise. Like I said to you, blue and red, that's what is made sunrise. That is where melatonin is secreted. It's produced to be released later at nighttime, right? And so that is very important right there. So when you think about sunlight, don't think about just, whole vitamin D. That is not what it is. It has to do with every hormones in your body. It has to do with every hormones inside your body. And I'm going to show you a second. Oh, good, right? And as you can see there, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, alpha MSH, endorphin, right? Thyroid stimulating hormones, right? You ladies, you know about thyroid, right? And estrogen and prolactin. These are all controlled by this morning sun, by the spectra, the color of the sun entering your eyes, right? So taking time, to control our behaviors in the morning to be outside is very important. This is light hygiene. This is circadian hygiene, right? So this is how evolution, our ancestors have lived and thrived, right? So like I said to you, dopamine is an hormone. This fat that you are complaining about is an hormone. Um, Endorphins is an hormone. Melatonin, serotonin is an hormone. And they're all controlled by light exposure, right? And the next part of my subject here today has to do with the evening time, right? A lot of us think that, the evening is the end of the day, right? But I'm here to surprise you that the evening time is the beginning of your biological day. Yes, that's what it is. The beginning of your biological day, right? So this is where all of the programs, this is where your destiny is being decided, so to speak, literally. This is where your destiny is being decided. So what do I mean? So let's say you come back from home, you come back from work, and you get home at 5 o'clock, right? You get home at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and you get home, you put on your blue artificial light, your screen, your TV, your Wi-Fi, and your whole house is bright in winter. And we all know in winter, if we live in the northern latitude, that in winter by 5, 6 o'clock it's begin to get dark. But human beings were very good at switching on, bright light. So we are extending the daytime just like summertime, right? So this begin to become mismatch, right? Where we're not experiencing winter anymore. So this light, like I said to you, light is information and energy. So when you switch on your LED light, which has got a lot of blue light inside it, this blue spectrum inside it, so when do you have blue light in nature? We have blue light in nature in the morning, not at night, not in the evening. By 6 o'clock, blue light is disappearing completely outside in the sun. So we have red, infrared, and near infrared light, right? That's what we have in the evening. This is what nature does. I don't do it. This is what nature does, right? Like I said, this red light, it has to do with regeneration. So it's time to sleep. It's time to regenerate. Like I said, but we put on blue light. We are basically telling our body it is the beginning of the day. Give me more cortisol. This is where problems start, right? And too much cortisol at night, what does it do? It suppresses melatonin, your sleep hormone. It suppresses it. And the longer you stay awake, the longer you spend under blue light, whether looking at your phone or watching TV or your Wi-Fi, because your Wi-Fi is also a light that you can't see. It's a spectrum of the sun or electromagnetic field that you can't see, right? So all of these things are bombarding your cells and they are causing them to produce more cortisol. So don't be surprised when you get to bed at night and you are toning and waking up at 2 o'clock. And people do that for a long time. They begin to call themselves a night owl. There is no such things in nature, right? Even if you call yourself a night owl, as you begin to grow, you end up becoming a morning person. But like I said, chronotypes does not exist in nature. So, but this implication of turning on blue light in the evening really suppresses a lot of beneficial hormones, right? Blue light is meant for sunrise. So when you have blue light at night, it not only suppresses melatonin, it actually increases glucose in your body without one food entering your mouth. It increases glucose. And what does it do? It also mess with leptin. Remember I said to you earlier that leptin is a fat hormone. It's a fat hormone, right? And it tells your body about energy balance or energy needs, right? It tells your body. So when you switch on your blue light after work at night, not to talk about the stress of the day, leptin, it begins to reduce leptin levels. So leptin cannot communicate energy levels to your brain, right? So even though there is energy, but
I'm just gonna stop you, right? I'm just saying, just obviously time. It's like you've done now half hour, okay? I don't know how long you've got. How long do you have to talk for?
30 minutes.
Yeah, so so go back
It's almost the end.
like
But yeah, I get you.
you're near the end, yeah?
Yes, I'm at the end. The evening is
Uh,
the end.
yeah, go on then, go on. I'm just yeah, go on. Finish.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up because I've been sensing you're going to say something as well. Cool. So this blue light that you put on at night, it begins to mess with all your hormones. Blue light will give you more cortisol, like I said, and cortisol is not bad. It's only bad at the wrong time, which is you putting on blue light at night. So you're going to get more cortisol. You're going to get more glucose because they work together. Cortisol and glucose work together. So if you do that long time for a long time, you're going to become diabetic, right? And people would tell you they don't know why they're fat, they don't know why they are diabetic, right? Because of this light situation, right? So this is where it's important that we remain in the dark, especially in winter when the dark begins to come on very early on by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And sunset, which is the beginning of darkness, now in winter, it's about 7 o'clock, 7:15. So it is our responsibility to begin to manage our relationship to light and bring in the full spectrum of the sun, bring it inside our homes, and manage our use of technology because technology it's affecting this circadian, this light um, interaction to our body. So I'm going to leave you there. And if anyone has a question, please shoot away.
Okay. Okay, so like go back to take it off this screen so we can take the share off and then we can just talk.
Cool.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. So I'd say initially, like for someone like myself that speaks for a living, like you have to be aware of your time. Like again, me knowing you and how you speak, it's like I'm talking about something I love, so I'm in it. I'm in it, I'm in it, I'm in it, I'm in it. So you have to be aware of your time, otherwise you'll just it'll be abrupt end. And everyone's like the organizers are thinking like time. Ugh. So that's the first thing I'd say. The thing I'd say is at the beginning you said, oh, I unlock people's performances by getting them better sleep. And then after that, everything was just science. Science. They sat there and it's just science. And you've got people and you didn't tell anyone what exactly you do. You just gave everyone a science lesson. So you come off the stage and no one knows exactly remotely how you do. You just give everyone a science lesson about the light, the lights going in your eyes, different things that people might forget. It's just science and just give bombard everyone with science. So if no one really wants to listen, they switch off and then like, okay, whew, it's going on. Yep, science, science, science. And those who would listen. So if anyone was interested at your first bit, I unlock people by getting better performance and better improving their sleep. Brilliant. You've not even said 1 minute how you do that. You just put a diagram, which again, the diagram is a very confusing diagram. I'm sitting close to the screen, but if someone's sitting in a room and then they're 6 rows behind and they're looking at this diagram, it's pretty confusing. So either change the diagram to less confusing, but
Yeah,
I'm saying like honestly, like my honest feedback is like you're it's just science and you're not telling anyone what you do. You're just giving everyone, oh, I know this about it and know that. There's nothing there that's told anyone in a half hour what you do and how you're going to do it. How you've got all these people in here that you want to impact their workforce. You just told them about the rainbows in a light and this and that, and you come off stage, and if they don't like the science, they're thinking, I don't want to get another conversation with him. He's going to tell me more. Well, good speech, good talk, well done, thank you. And you've had everyone's ear, and you just bombard them with science, and that's just for you. It's all you. It's just let everyone know how much you know. Like you're not telling anyone what they need to know. You're just telling everyone what you know. Oh, I know this and this and this and this and this and this. But you're not told anyone how you can help them. That's the whole reason you're on stage. I can help you in your workforce, and you can get into it. You can say bits like at night time is the most dangerous time because technology it gives off a blue ray, and what the blue ray does, it damages our thing, and you can give a little science about what the blue and nighttime does. You know, it's worse because there's so much technology and blah blah. It might even affect our children because the blue lights don't sleep. You can even give them a little bit, but you're ultimately saying to them, "This is how I help you by changing your nighttime routine." It might be a little subtle changes, whether you know what, saying something like turning off TV at half hour early to just cleanse yourself from the blue light. That might be
That's
things
right.
because the blue light's damaging. That's how I'm going to help you. You're just saying the blue light, and remember the red light. They're going red light, blue light, and like it's not traffic lights. And you've just told them everything's just science. You're not told them how. So if you've got a workforce and people are working late nights, I'll give them a routine of how to the an hour before bed detox so they can detox so they come into work and they're fresh and even a little thing they can do in the morning, a little half-hour routine that helps them in the morning. So they come into work and it erases all mistakes. And we know in your industry, mistakes can be costly. And the one who's it falls on your head. So we get people with making less mistakes, less on you, blah blah. And that's how I do it by changing little subtle bits of routine, subtle, not big, drastic. No one likes big, drastic changes, but the routine at night and routine in the morning because there are some damaging things. And you can explain, you know, you got things like thyroids, this and that. They're all affected by what we do, affected by the sun in some way. So I try and change that, and we'll have a big debrief and so on. But give them something that's going to help. You've just gone into this big science, and if I'm honest, I didn't even like all that sort of stuff. Like it's like okay, if you'd have spoken about how you can help me, and it might be something like, oh that might and perk up. You've just gone on and on. It's just oh, not me, and they're sitting there. How have you in that talk and it's like I'm being honest in saying you've got half these people for half hour. You've got the stage for half hour. Tell them how you're gonna work, help them, like, and be as simple. It hasn't got to be complicated to show you're intelligent. And maybe that's a deeper rooted complex because you've had to work so hard. You've had maybe people telling you and judging you because of the language barrier. You come from England and you try and say, listen, no, I'm as intelligent as you. I know as much as you, bruv. You know as much as them. Don't have to keep throwing it down their throat. Just tell them how good you are and how you can help them. All they want is your service, not your knowledge. Your knowledge is going to help you help them. Just give them your service. This is how I help. This is how I'm going to help. Your talk should be. This is how I'm going to help your team. This is how I'm going to help. This is what I do. Change your routines, subtle things. Give them a little bit of science. We're all affected. Everyone in this room is affected at some stage at night time. Some of us read before bed, and those might have a better night's sleep. Some watch Netflix for bed and will have a might disturb sleep because of the rays and that. So I'm going to try and what I do for you is personalize it, individualize it, change little subtle changes in your nighttime routine that improves your sleep, unlocks the and I'm going to be scientific here, the metatonin or the this and that. I'm going to unlock that, which is an important thing. For you, it means nothing. But for me, in my role, that's what I need to unlock. And I'm going to do subtle things in doing that. And if I do that, and if you follow it, I guarantee it's going to unlock better performance, going to unlock better health, and it's going to unlock definitely better well-being. And for you, as the boss, as leaders in this room, have a workforce, what it's going to do is going to lessen the mistakes. It's going to improve results and improve performances so that all of you will have a better workforce and a happier workforce because everyone comes into work with more energy and means there's less bickering, better culture, and it starts with better sleep. We all know what we're like with bad sleep. So like
That's
give
right.
them this, everything like forget the science. Give them a little something. Give them a night timer. Give them some the Blu-rays or something. Fine, but like the whole and going into it and this and that, like you'll kill yourself. And then like you know, it can be 20 minutes. And then you say to listen, is there any thoughts you have over what I've said? Anything you might know, like you know, what might want like give it that rather. Yeah. it's got to be. This is what I do. This is how I unlock the better sleep. I unlock better sleep is by this. It's simple. You just keep overcomplicating something that's so simple. If they want it, thingy, like they want it, and you're speaking one to one, and you've had a client like me that wants it simple, cool. Next one says, tell me more. You mentioned so and so. Tell me more about that. Then you go into it. Then you can get your diagrams out. They're like, oh my God. Oh wow, I didn't realize that. And yeah, yeah. Oh, and there might be someone else that just doesn't want as deep as that. But you just the half hour was just pure science, and you're just and you're it's such an in-depth subject that can be so simple. Sleep, it's sleep, and even in your speak, it's sleep, and sometimes it can be as simple as complex as it can be. But I'm going to make it simple. I don't want to make it complex and bring out the science, and all of you start running away. I'm going to make it simple here and break it down of what I do. There might be a little bit of science in there with terminologies and names, but that's a necessity.